Hi everyone, this is Magadon at Stock Market Caddy. It is July 9th at about 4:40 or so thereabouts, and wanted to take a look at a few markets here on the subject of a broadening top pattern, and what that means, what it looks like, and where they generally occur. And generally, it is a bearish pattern happening after the end of a very historic, long duration melting up type of pattern where it's very, very difficult to shake the confidence and to shake the tree, so to speak. It takes time. There are people who miss the run who want in. There are people who are in the run early, don't want to give up, and it just takes time. This is actually a monthly pattern of gold, and it shows how, and I want to examine how it breaks. The first thing that you need to have for an hour review, an hour work, is you need to have a peak. It's usually a sharp run up, a sharp peak up, and then you'll come down as you did here. You don't actually make a lower low, you don't take out this low, but you run up, and the key part is you make a lower high. And in this instance, we do make a lower low, then we run back up. We don't quite make a new high, but we're holding this, even though she made a lower low. Then when they start to make little higher lows within themselves, and in the peaking process, so it's very much a process. The key part is that the low this peak run, the peak must remain the peak, and the low of that peak must remain as the low. That's where you draw your trend lines. So let's just go do this with gold, and I want to show you something, because in the S&P, I don't think we have a broadening top pattern. I'm not saying that we don't have a top, but it's just not a broadening top. Oops. And let's just remove that, try that again. We're going to come in here and draw a trend line on gold, see if we can learn from it. So we capture it here. I'm going to try to capture these, approximately these 3 points. It is on a monthly chart, so, and I tell you what, I'm going to extend it to the right, and I'm going to make it heavier so that everyone can see it. Okay, so this would have been the low trend line. Where do we draw the high trend line? Come in, we get what is the peak here, we connect this to, we extend this to the right, make it nice and fat so we can see it, and there it is. So what happens is, the high price is in, low price is in, we got people that want to stay, we have people that want in, people that want to short, people that want to buy, and it oscillates. And the volatility gets really frenetic. And the arguments ensue, and prices just being ground. Ultimately, even if it breaks to the high side, I wouldn't be so concerned as long as this peak remains in place. And then ultimately we break the trend line. And we will break this narrowing trend line out some distance. You need this a period of months. This is the significant break. And then she jogs a little bit at this point, and then gone. And down she goes. Now, let's go look at the S&P and see if we have this. I don't think we have it in the S&P. I do think we have it in the NQ. And let's look at the Russell together. We'll even look at the Dow. So let me delete these lines. Let me delete this. We'll do this together. And format symbol. And let's just look at the ES. And let's be honest about it. We will be honest. Here we are. First thing, this peak was taken out. So we don't have, in our view, a broadening top. We would have, okay? We would have drawn it from here, and I'll draw the trend line. This would have been the peak. And we extend to the right. Let me make it heavy for everybody to see. And then we draw a trend line. And we extend to the right. Okay, this would have been, but she broke out. she broke out. Now, does that mean that we are going to continue higher? Not necessarily. In fact, I doubt it. To me, it looks like some sort of parabolic move that this broadening top pattern was commonplace, was too obvious to everybody, and everybody covered. I think ultimately it fails. It'll be this trend line that you need to see broken wherever it breaks. Maybe it's right here at the apex. Technically, it's not a broadening top pattern to us because it did get broken, but we still think it's a topping pattern. Just kind of went a little haywire there, and they just wanted to take it up. But let's go look at the others, and this is a bit more of a tell. And we remove. Too many people were eyeing that ES. Again, this is on a monthly basis. So let's look at the NQ, the NASDAQ. Now, let's watch this trend line. Let's get the peak. Let's connect it. We're going to extend right. We're going to get it nice and fat. Now look, this is key. Here's the low. Oops, I did not catch it. I want to get it right. Let me remove it. Try this again. Right here. We extend to the right. This is it, folks. Just do this, just copy this, and just wait. Just wait. This is the trend line right here. Okay. She might nudge up here a little bit. Be okay with that as long as she stays under here. That this broadening top pattern is in play. She's got to stay underneath. And then when she breaks this bottom trend line, you might see a little bit of a pause. Kaboom. Please save this. Let's go look at the Russell. Let's remove this. And remove this. In the interest, well, we'll do it together. I'll keep this under 10 minutes. And then let's just put in the Russell. These are the futures. I mean, would be the same as the, okay, this is classic. This is a broadening top. Trend line. Here's your peak. Here it is, double peak. We connect. Again, a monthly, so it's going to take some time. But here's the way to that. And I'm sorry, I wanted to extend this out. Extend it out to the right. Now, we don't really have 2 points to connect. We did here, and let's do that. Because otherwise, we would have to be coming back down into here to capture a trend. I think this would have still be validated, so it may have just failed to break. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. We put this in here. We extend to the right. And we wait this thing. We did have a violation of it. It held, came back up. We want to see this hold. If this breaks, it takes out this top. This broadening pattern really has been broken. Some might say that it's broken here. You would have expected it to fail. So it's a little problematic, but we haven't taken out a high. If we reject this and break it again, I think that'll be the second most that gets the cheese. And then lastly, let's take a look at the Dow. It's the volatility at the top that is the bearish notion. Anyone that lived through the 1999 crash and was trading JDSU, when these young traders that were in grammar school will remember. And here you had it. So this, to us, you don't have a broadening top on the Dow. What you have here is just this last capitulation. You may have had a bunch of bears looking for a broadening top. To them, technically it failed. They yodeled. They gave it up. And it'll be when this thing just burns itself out. And I think as soon as they're gone, the young bear cubs will be right back down. Sometimes patterns are just a little bit too obvious on the very obvious markets. This is Bag and Don at StockMarketCaddy.com. If you like this sort of thing, feel free to follow us. We're precise. We don't get them always right on the number, but the greatest downside or the greatest risk right now in these markets is not missing out on an opportunity to the high side. It's being in this when there's no liquidity. Be careful. Check us out.